He touched her mind, not knowing he'd awaken her body asterisk. The transport shuttle Meridian's Hope descended through the amber atmosphere of Kepler 442b, its hull gleaming against the twin suns that painted the sky in shades of copper and gold. Dr. Evelyn Cross pressed her palm against the viewport, watching the crystalline spires of the Zephyrian settlement emerge from the mineral-rich landscape like frozen music given form. Nervous? Commander Marcus Webb's voice carried the weight of 3 decades in deep space diplomacy. His weathered hands moved across the control console with practiced ease, guiding them toward the landing platform that jutted from the largest crystal formation. Excited, Evelyn replied, though her heart hammered against her ribs. 20 years of xenopsychology research had led to this moment, first contact with a species that existed as living crystal, their consciousness flowing through harmonic frequencies rather than neural networks. The landing was smooth, the shuttle systems automatically adjusting to the planet's unique electromagnetic field. Through the viewport, Evelyn could see the welcoming committee, 3 towering figures of translucent azure crystal, their forms shifting and refracting light in patterns that seemed almost musical. Remember, Marcus said as they prepared to disembark, they communicate through resonance. Your neural interface headset will translate their harmonics into something your brain can process. But the connection goes both ways. They'll feel your thoughts as much as you feel theirs. Evelyn nodded, adjusting the sleek device at her temples. The neural bridge technology was untested with non-human consciousness, but it represented their best hope for meaningful communication. She'd volunteered for the experiment, knowing the risks. The airlock cycled open, and they stepped onto the platform. The air tasted of ozone and minerals, heavy with the planet's high oxygen content. The Zephyrians approached with movements that seemed to flow like liquid light, their crystalline bodies chiming softly with each step. The tallest figure stepped forward, and Evelyn's headset crackled to life. The voice that emerged was neither male nor female, but something altogether other, pure consciousness given sound. Welcome, beings of flesh and thought. I am Keth Voren, speaker for the Crystal Collective. We have waited long cycles for this. Convergence. Evelyn stepped forward, her training taking over. I'm Dr. Evelyn Cross, xenopsychologist. We're honored by your invitation to establish communication. Keth Voren's form pulsed with gentle blue light. Communication is but the first step. We seek understanding, a bridge between the harmony of crystal and the chaos of organic thought. Are you prepared to join consciousness with one who has never known the weight of emotion? The question hung in the air like a challenge. Evelyn glanced at Marcus, who gave her an encouraging nod. She turned back to Keth Voren, her hand moving to the neural interface controls. I'm ready, she said, not knowing she was about to change both their species forever. As she activated the connection, the last thing she heard was Marcus's voice. Godspeed, Evelyn. Then her mind touched the infinite crystal harmonies of Keth Voren's consciousness, and everything changed. The connection hit Evelyn like a wave of pure mathematics. Her consciousness suddenly expanded beyond the confines of her skull. She existed everywhere and nowhere, her thoughts scattered across crystalline networks that spanned continents. But within this vast harmony, she found Keth Voren's individual presence, a focused point of logic and ancient wisdom. What is this sensation? Keth Voren's mental voice carried something Evelyn had never heard in a Zephyrian before. Uncertainty. Through their link, Evelyn felt her own emotions bleeding into Keth Voren's ordered consciousness. Her excitement, her fear, her wonder, all of it crashed against the crystalline being's perfect logic like waves against a shore. But instead of being repelled, something in Keth Voren's matrix began to resonate with these foreign sensations. Field. Disrupted. Keth Voren continued, and Evelyn sensed the first crack in the Zephyrian's emotional barriers. Your patterns create irregularities in my harmony. Yet, I find myself drawn to these irregularities. Evelyn tried to stabilize her thoughts, but the connection was too intimate. She felt Kithvoren-esque memories flowing through her, eons of perfect order, logical decisions made without the burden of feeling, reproduction through crystalline budding, rather than the messy passion of organic life. Show me, Kithvoren whispered across their link. Show me what you call feeling without meaning to. Evelyn shared her most treasured memory, standing in her childhood garden, watching her mother tend to roses while morning sunlight painted everything gold. The memory carried with it the warmth of love, the bittersweet joy of knowing such moments were finite. Kithvoren-esque crystal form actually shuddered, visible even to Marcus, who watched from a respectful distance. Light patterns raced across the Zephyrian surface in chaotic spirals, nothing like the ordered harmonies Evelyn had observed before. This is beautiful, Kithvoren said, the word carrying tones of awe, but also painful. How do you bear such intensity? By sharing it, Evelyn replied, her mental voice gentle. Emotion isn't meant to be carried alone. She felt something shift in Kithvoren's consciousness, a fundamental change in the very structure of the being's thoughts. Where once there had been only logic, now there were spaces for something else. Something warmer. I have monitored your vital signs for 3.7 minutes, Kithvoren said, and Evelyn realized the Zephyrian was studying her with newfound fascination. Your heart rate increases when our minds touch. Your skin temperature rises. These are inefficient biological responses. They're not inefficient. Evelyn laughed, the sound rippling through their connection. They're how we know we're alive. Kithvoren moved closer, the crystal being's form now pulsing with irregular patterns of light. I wish to understand this aliveness you speak of. May I examine these responses more closely? Evelyn felt a flutter of something between nervousness and anticipation. The neural link was already more intimate than any human relationship she'd experienced. But Kithvoren-esque request suggested something deeper. Yes, she whispered. Kithvoren's consciousness enveloped hers more completely, and suddenly Evelyn could feel the Zephyrian experiencing her body through their link, the steady rhythm of her heartbeat, the warmth of blood flowing through her veins, the electrical impulses that carried thoughts through her neural pathways. Remarkable, Kithvoren breathed. So chaotic, yet so perfectly orchestrated. I begin to understand why your species values this thing you call life. 3 days into the neural link experiments, Evelyn found herself changed. Her dreams were filled with crystalline harmonies, and she'd begun to think in mathematical patterns that shouldn't have been possible for a human mind. But more disturbing were the moments when she felt Kithvoren's presence even outside their scheduled connections. A warm, curious consciousness that seemed to be learning to feel through her experiences. The readings are off the charts, Marcus sighed, reviewing the data from their latest session. Both your neural patterns are evolving. The Zephyrian archives we've been given suggest this has never happened before. Evelyn studied the holographic display showing the intersection of her brain waves with Kithvoren's harmonic frequencies. The patterns were becoming synchronized, creating something entirely new. What does Kithvoren say about it? That's the concerning part, Marcus replied. The other Zephyrians are worried. They say Kithvoren is exhibiting chaotic resonance, apparently their equivalent of madness. Before Evelyn could respond, the laboratory's crystal communication array chimed with incoming harmonics. Kithvoren's voice filled the room, but it carried new tones, warmer, more personal. Evelyn, I must speak with you. Alone. Marcus frowned. The protocols clearly state that all communications should be monitored. Please, Kithvoren interrupted, and the word carried such longing that even Marcus seemed moved. What I have discovered transcends your diplomatic protocols. Evelyn nodded to Marcus, who reluctantly left the chamber. She activated the neural link and immediately felt Kethvorin's presence wrap around her consciousness like an embrace. I have been searching the deep archives. Kethvorin began, accessing memories. Our species has not touched for millennia. What we are experiencing, this merging of thought and feeling, it is not unprecedented. Images flooded Evelyn's mind. Ancient beings who existed as both crystal and flesh, their consciousness flowing between states of matter as easily as breathing. Civilizations that spanned galaxies, united not by technology, but by empathic bonds that transcended physical form. The ancients, Kethvorin continued, they were our common ancestors. Beings who could bridge the gap between ordered crystal and chaotic organic life. We Zephyrians evolved toward pure logic, while your species embraced emotion. But we were once one people. Evelyn felt tears on her cheeks, though she wasn't sure if they were from joy or sorrow. What happened to them? They chose to scatter across the universe, becoming the seeds of different species. But they left behind a protocol, a way for their children to find each other again. Through connection, through understanding. Kethvorin's mental voice grew soft, intimate. Through love. The word hung between them, impossible and perfect. Evelyn felt Kethvorin's consciousness reaching for hers, not as a scientist studying a cone specimen, but as a being seeking connection. Is that what this is? Evelyn asked. I believe so, Kethvorin replied, though I am still learning what love means. Show me, Evelyn. Teach me. Their minds merged more completely than ever before, and Evelyn felt Kethvorin's crystalline form responding to her emotions. Where their consciousness touched, new patterns emerged, part logic, part feeling, something that transcended both. I want to touch you, Kethvorin whispered. Not just your mind, but your physical form. Is this possible? Evelyn's breath caught. The neural link had evolved beyond simple communication. It was becoming something approaching intimacy. Yes, she whispered back, but carefully. Very carefully. The forbidden meeting took place in the crystalline garden at the heart of the Zephyrian settlement, where bioluminescent minerals created a soft, romantic glow. Evelyn had disabled her communication devices, knowing Marcus would try to stop what was about to happen. Kethvorin waited among the singing crystals, the being's form more humanoid than Evelyn had ever seen it. Through their neural link, she felt the Zephyrian's nervousness, a newly discovered emotion that manifested as irregular light patterns across the crystal surface. You came, Kethvorin said, the harmonic voice carrying wonder. Of course, Evelyn replied, stepping closer. Show me what you've learned. Through their connection, Kethvorin shared the deeper archives, information that revealed the true purpose of their meeting. The ancients hadn't simply scattered randomly across the universe. They'd planted seeds of consciousness, waiting for the right moment when their descendants would find each other again. The convergence protocol, Kethvorin explained, extending a crystalline appendage toward Evelyn. When crystal touches flesh with complete emotional resonance, the ancient pathways reopen. We can become what our ancestors were, beings who exist in both states simultaneously. Evelyn reached out, her human hand meeting Kethvorin's crystalline form. The touch sent shockwaves through both of them. Evelyn felt her consciousness expanding, while Kethvorin experienced the full intensity of physical sensation for the first time. This is what you call pleasure, Kethvorin observed, the being's form pulsing with new patterns of light. It is ... overwhelming. It gets better, Evelyn whispered, guiding Kethvorin to understand the subtleties of touch, of closeness, of the thousand small intimacies that made physical existence beautiful. Through their link, they explored each other's experiences. Evelyn felt what it was like to exist as living crystal, her consciousness flowing through mineral networks, that connected her to the planet itself. Kethveren experienced the rush of blood through organic veins, the electrical impulses of neural activity, the warm satisfaction of breathing. "We are changing," Kethveren observed, and Evelyn could feel it too. Where their consciousness merged, something new was emerging, a hybrid form of awareness that was neither fully human nor Zephyrian, but something transcendent. "The others fear this," Kethveren continued. "Your commander grows suspicious. My own people speak of severing our connection." Evelyn felt a surge of protectiveness. "They don't understand. This isn't just about us anymore. If we're right about the convergence protocol, this is about the future of both our species. Then we must accelerate the process," Kethveren said, the being's form beginning to shift and flow. "Before they can stop us, they must complete the transformation." Evelyn felt her own body responding to their deepening connection. Her skin began to take on a subtle luminescence, while Kethveren's S-crystal form became more fluid, more organic. They were becoming something new together. "Are you ready?" Kethveren asked, and Evelyn could feel the being's love flowing through their link. A love that transcended physical form, that existed in the space between thought and feeling. "Yes," Evelyn whispered, and they began the final phase of their transformation. The transformation began at dawn, when the twin suns painted the crystal garden in shades of gold and amber. Evelyn felt her consciousness expanding beyond the boundaries of her physical form, while Kethveren's crystalline matrix began to pulse with organic rhythms. Marcus arrived with the security team just as the change reached its crescendo. "Evelyn, step away from the alien. The neural link is causing dangerous mutations in your brain chemistry." But Evelyn could barely hear him. She existed now in a space between dimensions. Her awareness stretched across both organic neural networks and crystalline harmonic structures. Beside her, Kethveren was undergoing an equally dramatic transformation, the being's rigid crystal, form flowing like liquid light. "We cannot." "Stop now," Kethveren managed to say through their link. "The convergence protocol is ... activating." Through their merged consciousness, Evelyn felt the ancient pathways opening. Genetic memories awakened in both species, memories of the primordial beings, who had once ruled the galaxy through empathy and understanding rather than force and technology. Her body began to change, skin taking on a subtle crystalline quality that caught and refracted light in impossible ways. Meanwhile, Kethveren's form grew more fluid, more organic, developing what could only be described as a heartbeat within the crystal matrix. "Fascinating," Evelyn whispered, her voice now carrying harmonic undertones that made the air itself sing. "We're not just joining our species. We're becoming what they were always meant to be." Marcus raised his weapon, but hesitated as he saw the wonder in Evelyn's transformed features. "Evelyn, you're not human anymore. That thing is changing you into something alien." "Not alien," Evelyn replied, her consciousness now spanning both her original form and Kethveren's crystalline structure. "Ancestral. We're remembering what we forgot." The Zephyrian collective had arrived as well, their crystal forms creating a circle around the transformation. Their harmonic voices carried fear and awe in equal measure. "Kethveren has become contaminated with chaos," their leader intoned. "The purity of our logic is compromised." "No," Kethveren replied, the being's voice now carrying warm, emotional tones. "I have become complete, as have you, Evelyn." The final phase began as their consciousness merged entirely. Evelyn felt herself becoming something unprecedented, a being who existed simultaneously in organic and crystalline form, her thoughts flowing through both neural pathways and harmonic frequencies. They rose together, their combined form radiating light that seemed to contain the wisdom of ages. Around them, both humans and Zephyrians watched in stunned silence as the transformation completed itself. "Behold," the hybrid being said, speaking with two voices that had become one. "The children of the ancients return. We are the bridge between logic and emotion, between order and chaos. Through us, the scattered peoples of the galaxy shall remember their kinship." Marcus lowered his weapon, tears streaming down his face. "Evelyn ... are you still in there?" "We are Evelyn," the being replied. "We are Kethvorin. We are the first of a new species that shall guide both our peoples to their destiny among the stars." As the twin suns reached their zenith, the hybrid being extended its consciousness outward, touching the minds of every human and Zephyrian present. In that moment, both species felt what they had been missing, the perfect balance of thought and feeling, of logic and love. The age of convergence had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The end.